Good morning, welcome to part 28 of my Around the Kent Coast Cycling Challenge. If you've been following me, you may know whereabouts we are on the Kent Coast. If you haven't, I'm going to give you a chance to have a guess. I'm just going to show you the scenery, see if you can pinpoint where we are. So you may see some white cliffs in the distance. So here's the path we've just walked along. I'm just going to give you a tour around as we walk towards the edge of this kind of cliff. I look out, you may see a landmass in the distance. I'm just going to peek over the cliff here. You may have got a shot of that. They're iconic chalk cliffs of Kent. So can you guess where I am? So today's journey started at Kingsdown, which is about a mile behind us now, and we're heading to St Margaret's-on-Cliffe, which will be a fascinating walk today. One problem we've faced is that cycling is kind of not advised because we're kind of walking more on a kind of cliff edge now. Although you could cycle along an A road, it's about a mile inland, and to be honest there wouldn't be a lot of exciting stuff to see. So I've decided to kind of leave my bike at home today, have a walk along the cliff edge. There's lots of fascinating stuff to see today, so hopefully you join me for the entire route. So since we left Kingsdown, we've actually got quite high above the sea now. I'm just going to kind of show you around here because the kind of classic white cliffs have started kind of to the east of Kent. I'm very careful not to get too close to the edge here because you do see on the news quite a lot where people are getting just way too close, and these cliffs are notoriously unstable. So I'm just going to kind of hold the camera out. It's all very nice. Now we will talk more about the cliffs probably next episode, which we are actually going to film this afternoon. But what I will say is in a very distance you can see France, who also have quite extensive white cliffs. Now these were actually many years ago were joined up. So when the kind of English Channel started to form, the cliffs kind of broke away from each other and have slowly been getting further apart. So we'll cover this quite a lot next week, which will be quite interesting. But yeah, I'm just going to give you one last pan round before we carry on. It's all very exciting. So over the next few weeks we'll be talking about the kind of history over the last 100 years that is connected with the Kent coast down here, and it's mainly related to the last two world wars, and we're actually coming up on what looks like a kind of memorial ahead. I don't know if you can see the point in the distance, but it'll be very interesting to see. So let's go and see what the memorial is all about. So we're coming to the end of episode 28 now. We're just coming down to St Margaret's-on-Cliffe. I'm just going to show you the lovely little kind of alcove down there. It's a really nice kind of seasidey little alcove in the White Cliffs of Dover. It's one of my favourite parts of the English Channel. So we're heading down there now to explore a bit further. So we've come down to sea level on St Margaret's-on-Cliffe. It's very nice down here. We're right by the kind of rock pools. I'm just going to pan round. You'll see the White Cliffs ahead, and where we've just left, also the White Cliffs behind me. So my trivia question for this week is, what has Noel Coward, Ian Fleming and St Margaret's-on-Cliffe all got in common? So the answer to the trivia question is that both Noel Coward and Ian Fleming lived in the kind of White House behind me. Very exciting. You can almost imagine kind of Ian Fleming sitting there on a winter's night looking out to sea, writing the James Bond novels. I believe he did write quite a few from this location. As he looked out, that's a view he would have seen during the summer. He would have watched the boats going across the channel. I'm guessing there will be a few more boats back then, because this was kind of pre the Channel Tunnel. It's all very nice to see what he would have seen while he was writing about James Bond. Right, let's go and explore St Margaret's-on-Cliffe a bit further. So during editing, my mission will be to actually find out what this fascinating structure is sticking out the cliff. It almost looks like a little lookout going out to sea. So I will try and find out and put it on the screen for you as you watch this video. Now there's been a lot in the Kent news lately about these White Cliffs and people walking along and getting too close to the edge and the dangers of getting too close to the edge. Now as we're at the bottom here, you can really see the risks involved. I'm just going to show you a few rocks down here. Now I'm guessing these ones here, as you can see, aren't that old, and obviously you can see where they've fallen from, quite up high there. So as you can see, there is a rock formation further around that looks quite fresh. I won't hang around too long down here, just in case there is any kind of further falls. So I better carry on to St Margaret's-on-Cliffe. Thanks for joining me in episode 28 of my Around the Kent Coast Cycling Challenge. We're now down in St Margaret's-on-Cliffe, which is very exciting. This afternoon I will be walking on to film episode 29, so that will be next week for you. But we will be heading towards Dover through the White Cliffs Park. It'll be very exciting. There's lots to see up there. Right, I will see you next week.